Okay, we're going to get started on just doing some clips. Obviously, it's much better to be in a classroom scenario, but we're just not able to do that with everybody's schedules. So I'll use Keyframe and send this information to you guys. Hopefully, it all works out well. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Just getting started with some attacking shape clips. So we want to make sure that we're focusing on getting the ball into wide areas especially when the opponent is pretty congested. You can see right now that they're starting to have all their numbers back in their half. And so as we play this entry pass, which is decent, now you start to see how they're collective in their shape. We'll get the ball switching, and then right there. So this is a situation where they're in an area defending in front of the goal, and we don't really have but one player. So it's a 6v1 in terms of how we're going to get the ball through. So the issue I think we have here is now we're constantly going to try and get through this shape, and it's going to become very difficult for us. First try, second try, third try, and then ultimately, when you look at their shape, we're not going to be able to go through the middle of them. So it's important for us to try and open them up a little bit, which you can see there's plenty of wide options out there for us to get the ball to. And then now we've lost possession, so we're all having to work our way back. This situation here, just recognize that once you release Zane or we release our outside back, the space behind them is what needs to be protected. So it almost makes more sense for LT to slide over and apply the pressure so that Zane can focus on her shape here and not allow this pass to happen. You'll see that coming up in a second. But again, we're also in our attacking shape. So this one here is just making sure that we recognize when, and it's a good build up. It's good fast combination play. This moment here, I think when you relate it to, American football, anytime there's a diagonal run, you want to have a straight pass. If she were running straight, then you'd want to have an angled pass. So you can see if Abby's able to hit this ball forward, straight ahead, maybe even putting it on her left foot, then Carrie can get in behind. Similar situation here. I think once we gain possession back, it's a little bit too much space there. Sorry, I think this is the beginning of some defensive shape clips. So right here, the pressure needs to be a little bit higher and tighter. And what we don't want to do is create 1v1 situations, because now Zane's in this situation. And again, this was one of their stronger players and really gave us fits. But to not be able to double this out here, and Dory would have to leave space a lot quicker and leave Riley in a 1v1. But the idea is we really want to try and force them to play out wide. But again, that's more of a defensive shape issue. Versus the attacking. I do like our setup here, but Efi, I think you can slide over and double team this and force this to be a little bit less dangerous. And, it's kind of, just a half and half foul that the referee calls. More in the defensive shape. Look how spread out we are. So for them to be able to get the ball in this area here without, having our line of four midfielders right here, here, and here becomes a problem. So remember, we talked about having two forwards and four midfielders before we get to our four backs. So something I want you guys to think about, because now look at all the time and space that they have to be able to get the ball through us. And it's an easy one. Again, back to that last example, if Zane's going to go here and leave this one wide open, we need to make sure there's cover. We don't have a right side. I think that was supposed to be Jasmine at that point, in terms of our shape. So we're a little bit discombobulated. She gets the ball out wide. I think we pick it up here. And it's a good decision to clear the ball there, which when we get into the goals against, we'll have something to say about that. Again, think about the situation here on the attacking side. Instead of trying to play into these players here, LT, if you create this pass with Jasmine here, then Jasmine has a 3v2 with Abby and Mia. So again, this area here, instead of trying to square peg round hole it, we give the ball right into this space here, and now Jasmine's in this 1, 2, 3 versus 2. When we're defending this, now look how our recovery is happening. So Zane is now pulled out in the opponent's half, and now this is Dory stepping up versus having Ify, you sliding over and helping out, because we lost the possession of the ball here, but you pop over here. That way Dory can stay disciplined to her position. And now you see, I think Sarah was in a good spot tucked in, but Riley could have been here once Dory went, and Sarah obviously could have slid over a little bit more. Again, all it's doing is creating a transition moment where we're 1v1, or we have our center backs facing our goal and running towards, or with they're facing our goal, running towards it. Again, situation here, maybe the ball needs to be a little bit secure here, or a clearance. We talked after the match about clearing the ball. Maybe we just hit this long and then organize our lines a little bit. Doesn't happen, but now we can see our midfield shape. We've got decent numbers, but again, we're leaving a 1v1 diagonal there because there's no pressure on this ball. So right then and there, the action should be get towards the ball, get towards the ball. And that's a one touch, so it's surprising. And again, Erica comes up big with the save, and that's the difference in the game right there from our perspective. Obviously, they had to make a couple saves against us too, but both teams had a chance to win the game, and that was their clear one. Okay, so you see, sorry, I got talking. You see that there's not much pressure on the ball, but look at how far back our back four is when the ball finally lands. Okay, so you can see this type of spacing here. Let me get back up again. So this type of spacing here is almost too much for a long ball that goes into this area and creates this situation here. Now Sarah's having to track back right here. Because we were so spread out in our shape, we didn't have numbers back facing the ball as it was coming in. This, Licia, I think once this ball comes to you, this is a one touch, get out of dodge, get out of jail, with some power just to get the ball away. So again, we're recovering, we're looking to recover. And then like we talked about training the other day, right now it looks like Black is just chasing the ball. Wherever the ball goes, we're moving our feet towards the pass, instead of being collective. And there's a missed clearance, and then you guys are recovering to get back. But this right here, as the ball gets tipped, the two of them running forward and none of us running forward is something, let's make sure that we're always closing out the play and staying tight. It's good effort all around, but, it's just one of those things when you get that goal situation. So the second goal, and again, we're 50 minutes in now, 55, 56 minutes in. Erica, this is just for you to see what your organization looked like. No problem. Okay, ball's out. Fortunate here, good defending there to get our goal kick. So again, look at the time of the match. Where are we? Are we being smart? Are we collective in our buildup? Are we moving the ball quickly? I think yes. But again, look at where Dory is when the ball goes to the other half. Look where Carrie ends up when the ball goes to the other half. Jasmine's going to play, I think, Carrie in this situation. So now you can see, remember where Dory was. Look where Carrie and Abby are. Okay, fine. Okay, now think about where Dory is and think about where Carrie is again. Okay, and where Abby is. All right, so now they've got possession of the ball. So this is the moment where players need to start really focusing on getting into a collective shape. And you don't know you're going to get scored on at this point because it's the video. The video is telling us the story. So that right there, if we remember where Carrie was and think about where Dory was, if we're going to be up higher and think about that last clip as well. Our midfield is really, Jasmine's there, Efi's there, LT's there. So it's not like we don't have this side sorted out, but we're not collective enough. Like we're not in a shape that allows us to say, hey, this is our line and then this is our back line and you're going to have to beat us. Okay. And that's part of the problem, because now there's all these 1v1s happening all over the place. Dory takes care of it. Okay. So we talk a lot about, like, it's the goal that happened, and yes, everyone likes to look at that individual scenario, but this is more of a, hey, collectively, the ball there were many opportunities for us to really take care of the ball, slow the game down, build up, and establish a rhythm. So we talk a lot about stopping the goal situation or the goal scenario at the source. So I just showed you like 4 or 5 different sources that we could have maybe put our foot on the ball, cleared the ball, stopped the ball, gotten into shape. And now this is a situation where it's a throw-in, which is ultimately going to lead to the goal. Unfortunate dive by Lauren, but it's, again, tired legs. When Dory goes and she doesn't have any cover, that becomes a little bit of a problem for us in this situation. So right now we're very unorganized in terms of how our shape looks, how our back line looks. So again, Zane's going back to get the ball, and again, look where Dory is. And again, it's nobody's fault. It's just when she goes and there's no cover, there's really no opportunity to double team. So now there's defenders there. There's 2-on-2, and don't want to turn your back. And that's the shooting scenario that they have to score the tying goal. So again, there's a lot of nuance to a lot of these clips, and hopefully it gives you an idea of some of my expectations when we're talking about shape, defensively or out of possession, and then when we're talking about how we're attacking. We want to use wide spaces. We want to make sure that we play the right weight or the right timed pass to a player into an attacking area. That'll be our focus tonight. And then tomorrow night, again, we'll look at that defensive shape again and make sure we're all on the same page and organized. So hopefully this is helpful to whether you played or didn't play, or whether you were even at the game. It's something that I think it's probably the best way we're going to be able to do things. So feel free to give me any feedback or get in touch with any questions. Thanks.